The letter arrived 3 days after we buried my father. Plain white envelope, my name written in his unmistakable architect's handwriting. I found it wedged between bills and junk mail, like it was trying to hide from the world. Just like Dad always did with the important stuff. My name is Avery, and until that moment, I thought I knew everything about my father. I was wrong. I stood in my tiny apartment kitchen, coffee growing cold beside me, staring at that envelope like it might disappear if I looked away. The morning sun caught the edge of the paper, making it glow against my trembling fingers. 3 days of crying had left me hollow, but somehow this letter brought everything rushing back. Sweetheart, it began, if you're reading this, then I couldn't find the courage to tell you in person. I'm sorry for that. But what I'm about to share with you needs to stay between us. The words blurred as tears welled up again. I blinked them away, determined to focus. My phone buzzed. Mom's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, just like I had been doing since the funeral. I couldn't handle another conversation about the appropriate way to grieve, or how Chloe was handling it so much better. Back to the letter. There's something waiting for you at First National Bank, box 247. The key is taped to the back of this page. What you'll find there is yours alone. Not your mother's, not Chloe's. Just yours. I flipped the page over. A small silver key caught the light, secured with clear tape that had yellowed slightly with age. How long had he been planning this? My phone buzzed again. This time it was Ethan. Hey babe, your mom's worried. Call her back. I texted back quickly, working on something. Talk later. The letter continued. I've watched you struggle to find your place, always putting everyone else first. You're so much stronger than you know, Avery. Sometimes the greatest act of love is letting someone find their own way. The doorbell rang, making me jump. Through the peephole, I saw Chloe, perfectly put together as always, probably sent by Mom to check on me. I stayed quiet until her heels clicked away down the hall. The guilt of avoiding her twisted in my stomach, but something told me Dad was right. This needed to stay private. The letter's final paragraph made my heart race. The choice of what to do with what you find will be yours alone. But remember this, you don't owe anyone your dreams. Not even family. Especially not family. I sat down hard on my kitchen chair, the letter trembling in my hands. Dad had always been the quiet one, the peacekeeper who smiled and nodded while Mom and Chloe dominated every conversation. But here, in these words, was a different man. Someone who saw more than he let on. My phone lit up again, a text from Ethan. Family dinner tonight at your mom's. Don't skip this one. Please? I stared at the message, then at the key in my hand. The bank would be open for another 3 hours. Family dinner wasn't until 7. I'll be there, I texted back. Standing up, I grabbed my coat and the letter, carefully folding it into my pocket. Whatever was in that safety deposit box, Dad wanted me to find it before facing the family. Before facing Mom's plans for moving forward, and Chloe's perfectly scripted grief and Ethan's well-meaning but suffocating concern. As I locked my apartment door, another text came through from Mom. We're something appropriate tonight. The Hendersons are coming. We need to show them we're handling this with dignity. I smiled grimly. First the bank, then dinner. And somewhere between those 2 points, I'd discover exactly what my quiet, observant father had been planning, and why he'd chosen to share it only with me. The Hendersons arrived at 7 sharp, dressed like they were attending a society fundraiser instead of a family dinner. I watched from the kitchen as Mom fussed over them in the foyer, her pearl necklace catching the light every time she laughed at their polite condolences. My trip to the bank was still burning in my mind, but I forced myself to focus on arranging the appetizer plates. Just act normal, I kept telling myself. But normal felt impossible after what I'd discovered. There you are. Chloe breezed into the kitchen, wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Mom's been looking for you. Why aren't you dressed yet? I glanced down at my simple black pants and blouse. I am dressed. Oh, Avery. She sighed, reaching past me for the wine opener. You know what Mom means by dressed. The Henderson son is here. Jason? The investment banker. I'm dating Ethan, I reminded her, though lately, that fact felt more like a habit than a certainty. Right. Speaking of Ethan, he's been asking about Dad's will. Seems pretty interested in the details. My hands froze on the cheese plate. What details? Just everything. Chloe leaned against the counter, studying me. It's weird that Dad didn't leave anything specific to you, isn't it? I mean, you were always his favorite. Before I could respond, Mom swept in. Girls, what are you doing hiding in here? The Hendersons are waiting. She paused, frowning at my outfit. Avery, I specifically laid out that navy dress for you. I'm comfortable in this. Comfortable isn't the point. Mom's voice dropped to a whisper. Jason Henderson manages their entire family trust. We need to make connections right now, not. She gestured vaguely at my clothes. Not what, Mom? Not grieve. Don't start, Chloe warned, but Mom was already building steam. Your father would want us to be practical. The house, the lifestyle he worked so hard to provide, it all depends on maintaining certain relationships. Chloe understands this. Of course she does, I muttered. The doorbell rang again. Ethan's voice carried from the foyer, charming as ever. I heard him complimenting Mrs. Henderson's dress, and something in his tone made my skin crawl. I'll get the rest of the appetizers, I said, needing a moment alone. But as I reached for the fridge, I overheard Mom whisper to Chloe, the mortgage payment is due next week. Your father's life insurance is tied up in probate. We need the Hendersons' goodwill more than ever. My hand tightened on the fridge handle. Dad's letter suddenly made more sense. He must have known about the financial troubles, known Mom would try to maintain appearances at any cost. Avery? Ethan appeared in the doorway, looking perfectly at ease in his tailored suit. Need help? I've got it. He stepped closer anyway, lowering his voice. Your mom's worried about you. We all are. You've been distant since the funeral. I'm fine. Are you? Because Chloe mentioned you've been asking questions about your dad's finances. I set down the plate harder than necessary. Why are you and Chloe discussing me? We care about you. His hand touched my waist, but it felt wrong somehow. Maybe if you talk to me about what's bothering you. Avery, Mom called from the dining room. The Hendersons are asking about your work at the community center. I stepped away from Ethan, grateful for the interruption. But as I headed for the dining room, I caught a glimpse of him and Chloe exchanging a look that made my stomach turn. The safety deposit box key felt heavy in my pocket. Dad's words echoed in my head. You don't owe anyone your dreams. Looking at the perfectly arranged dining room, at Mom's desperate smile and Chloe's calculated charm, I finally understood what he meant. This wasn't just about money. It was about escape. So, Avery, Mrs. Henderson smiled benevolently. Tell us about your little charity work. I sat down, aware of all the eyes on me, each person wanting something different. Mom wanted a performance. Chloe wanted ammunition. Ethan wanted. Well, that was becoming clearer by the minute. But for the first time in my life, I didn't care what any of them wanted. The safety deposit box felt heavier than it should have as I placed it on the small table in the bank's private viewing room. My hands trembled slightly as I inserted the key, Dad's words from dinner 2 weeks ago echoing in my mind. Sometimes the quiet ones see everything. Sweetheart. Inside lay a thick manila envelope and a smaller white one with my name on it. I opened the white one first. My dear Avery, it began, by now you've probably noticed what's happening at home. Your mother's desperate social climbing, Chloe's increasing entitlement, and that boyfriend of yours asking all the wrong questions. My throat tightened. Even from beyond the grave, Dad saw right through everyone. The manila envelope contained bank statements, property deeds, and finally, a cashier's check that made my hands shake. $2 million. More money than I'd ever seen in my life. Everything okay in there, Miss Thompson? The bank manager knocked softly. Yes, fine, I called back, quickly stuffing the check into my purse. My phone buzzed. Ethan again. 3 missed calls since this morning. I silenced it and returned to Dad's letter. This money comes from my personal accounts, built up over years of careful planning. Your mother never knew about it. Neither did Chloe. I watched them both become something I never wanted for you, people who measure their worth by others' approval. The door opened suddenly. I scrambled to hide the papers, but it was too late. Chloe stood there, her perfect makeup not quite hiding her rage. I knew it, she hissed. I followed you here after I saw the bank's number on your phone last night. This is a private room, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Private? Like how Dad privately set you up while leaving the rest of us to drown. She stepped closer, eyes fixed on the papers in my hands. Mom's about to lose everything and you're here hoarding secrets? It's not what you think. Really? Because I think Dad played favorites right until the end. Perfect Avery, the one who understood him. She spat the words. While I got stuck managing Mom's breakdowns and trying to hold everything together. Hold everything together? Is that what you call flirting with my boyfriend? Chloe's face flickered with something. Guilt? Fear? Before hardening again. I don't know what you're talking about. I saw you two at dinner last night. The looks, the whispers. How long has it been going on? This isn't about Ethan. She reached for the papers. This is about family. I pulled them away, Dad's words burning in my mind. You don't owe anyone your dreams. You're right, I said. This is about family. About how you and Mom turned it into a competition. About how Dad saw it happening and tried to protect at least one of us from becoming like that. Protect? Chloe laughed bitterly. By hiding money? By lying? By giving me a choice. The bank manager appeared in the doorway. Is everything all right, ladies? Fine, we said in unison, a lifetime of keeping up appearances kicking in automatically. Show me what's in those papers, Chloe demanded once he left, or I'll tell Mom everything. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Behind the perfect facade, I saw something familiar, the same trapped feeling I'd been fighting all my life. You know what? Tell her. Tell everyone. Because I'm done pretending everything's fine when it's not. I gathered the papers and stood up. Chloe grabbed my arm, her manicured nails digging in. You can't just walk away. We're family. Yes, I said, gently removing her hand. And maybe that's the problem. As I walked out of the bank, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Ethan. We need to talk about your sister. I stared at the message, a strange calm settling over me. Dad had seen it all coming, the desperation, the betrayals, the choices I'd have to make. He hadn't just left me money, he'd left me an escape route. I typed back a single word. Yes. It was time to stop being the quiet one who saw everything. It was time to be the one who did something about it. I met Ethan at our usual coffee shop, the one where we had our first date 2 years ago. He was already there, 2 cups on the table, mine with extra cream, just how I liked it. The perfect boyfriend move. Too perfect. We need to talk about what happened at the bank, he said as I sat down. Interesting. I thought we needed to talk about my sister. His fingers tightened around his cup. Chloe's worried about you. We all are. Are you sleeping with her? The question hung there, sharp and ugly. Ethan's face did something complicated. Surprise, guilt, calculation, all in quick succession. That's not. This isn't about me and Chloe. He leaned forward. Your father left you money, didn't he? A lot of it. I thought about Dad's letter, about his quiet observations over the years. Had he seen this coming too? Your mother's about to lose everything, Ethan continued. The house, the social standing, all of it. You could help. Like you've been helping Chloe? He had the grace to flinch. Look, things got complicated. Chloe was vulnerable after your father died. Don't. My voice was steady, surprising even me. Don't you dare use my father's death as an excuse. A text lit up my phone. Mom, the bank called about the mortgage. Where are you? I switched it to silent as Ethan reached across the table. We can fix this, Avery. All of it. Just tell me about the money. Let me help you figure out what to do with it. The same words he'd used when I got my promotion last year. When I inherited my grandmother's jewelry. Always offering to help manage my resources. There's nothing to figure out, I said, standing up. It's already decided. Avery, wait, he grabbed my wrist. Too tight. You're not thinking clearly. Your father's death, the stress. Let me handle this. A memory surfaced. Dad at my college graduation, quietly slipping me extra cash while Mom fussed over Chloe's outfit. You've got good instincts, sweetheart, he'd said. Trust them. I pulled my arm free. How long? What? How long have you and Chloe been planning this? Was it before or after Dad died? His silence was answer enough. My phone buzzed again, Chloe this time. Mom's hysterical. If you have money, you need to help. It's what Dad would want. But that wasn't true, was it? Dad had spent years watching, planning, making sure at least one of us had a chance to break free. I loved you, I said to Ethan. Did that matter at all? He stood too, switching tactics. Of course it did. It does. But families stick together, right? Your mom needs help, Chloe needs support, and you. You need guidance. Let me be there for all of you. The pieces clicked into place. They'd planned it perfectly, Ethan keeping me close while Chloe worked on Mom, all of them waiting to see what Dad might have left behind. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small envelope. Here's your guidance. Inside were photos from my phone, screenshots of texts between him and Chloe going back months, pictures of their secret meetings that weren't so secret after all. I'm not the quiet one anymore, I said, watching his face pale. Dad taught me better than that. As I walked out, another text came through from Mom's bank. They were reviewing Dad's accounts, looking for hidden assets. They needed to speak with all family members. Time was running out. I had to decide, use Dad's money to save a family that never really wanted me, or honor his last wish and save myself. I thought about the community center where I volunteered, about the dreams I'd put on hold to play the dutiful daughter, about Dad, watching it all, planning an escape route. My phone buzzed one last time. Chloe, don't make me tell Mom everything. I smiled, thinking of the evidence safely backed up in 3 different places. Go ahead, I typed back. I've got some things to tell her too. I was packing the last of my office things when Chloe stormed in, waving her phone like a weapon. Behind her, Ethan lingered in the doorway, trying to look concerned instead of calculating. You're quitting your job? Chloe's voice carried down the hallway. Are you insane? I continued wrapping my desk photos in newspaper. Close the door. She slammed it instead, making the blinds rattle. Mom's having a breakdown. The bank is threatening foreclosure and you're what, running away? Interesting how you found out so quickly. I glanced at Ethan, almost like someone's been monitoring my emails. He had the decency to look away, but Chloe stepped closer, her designer heels clicking on the tile floor. You have $2 million, Avery. $2 million that could save our family, and you're choosing to abandon us. My hand stilled on Dad's old paperweight. How do you know the exact amount? The silence was deafening. Chloe's face flushed, and Ethan shifted uncomfortably. You went through my apartment. The realization hit like a punch. While I was at the coffee shop with Ethan. That's why he insisted on meeting there. We had to know, Ethan started, but I cut him off. Had to know what? How much I was worth betraying. That's not fair, Chloe's voice cracked. You don't understand what Mom's going through. What I'm going through. Dad left us with nothing but debt and secrets. Did you even look for his letter in my apartment? The one explaining why he did this? I watched their faces. No, of course not. You just wanted the numbers. My phone buzzed. Mom again. I ignored it. Whatever Dad's reasons, Ethan stepped forward, playing mediator. The reality is your family needs help. You have the means to provide it. Isn't that what matters? I pulled out my laptop, typing quickly. You're right. Family does matter. Finally, Chloe sighed. So you'll help? Oh, I'm helping. I turned the screen toward them. On it were dozens of screenshots, their secret meetings, text messages, bank records showing suspicious transfers from Mom's accounts to Chloe's private one. What are you doing? Ethan's voice lost its smooth edge. Sending copies to Mom, the family lawyer, and the bank's fraud department. My finger hovered over the enter key. Unless you want to tell me the truth. All of it. Chloe's facade cracked. We needed money for Mom's gambling debts. Dad knew, but he wouldn't help. He just kept saying we needed to face consequences and learn responsibility. So you decided to take responsibility by stealing from Mom's accounts and setting up your boyfriend to spy on me? He wasn't supposed to fall for you, Chloe whispered. It was just supposed to be a way to find out about Dad's assets. The words hit harder than I expected. 2 years of my life, all a calculation. Avery, Ethan reached for me. It started that way, but save it. I pressed enter. The bank will figure out the truth about Mom's missing money. And you two can explain to her why her golden daughter has been bleeding her accounts dry. You bitch, Chloe lunged forward, but Ethan caught her arm. You're destroying everything. No, I picked up my box of belongings. Dad saw this coming. The manipulation, the lies, all of it. He wasn't punishing you. He was protecting me. As I walked out, Chloe called after me. Mom will never forgive you for this. I thought about Dad's letter, safely stored away. Sometimes love means letting people face their own choices, sweetheart. Even when those choices hurt. My phone buzzed again. A text from the community center where I volunteered. Still interested in that full-time position? Yes, I typed back, stepping into the elevator. And I'd like to discuss expanding our programs. I suddenly have some investment capital to work with. Behind me, I could hear Chloe crying and Ethan trying to damage control. But for the first time since Dad died, I felt light. Free. Sometimes the quiet ones don't just see everything, they change everything. The family home looked different in the rain, smaller somehow. I sat in my car, watching Mom pace behind the living room windows, phone pressed to her ear. Probably calling her society friends, trying to explain why her accounts were suddenly frozen. My phone lit up, the bank's fraud department again. I'd have to deal with them eventually, but right now, I had to face something worse. Sunday dinner. The moment I stepped inside, I knew Chloe had already arrived. Her designer coat hung in its usual spot, dripping onto Mom's precious hardwood floors. In the dining room, voices carried. "We can fix this," Ethan was saying. "The bank just needs." "Shut up," Chloe snapped. "This is all your fault. If you'd done your job properly." I rounded the corner. The room fell silent. Mom stood at the head of the table, clutching a stack of papers, printouts of the evidence I'd sent. Her hands shook slightly, but her voice was steel. "Sit down, Avery." I took Dad's old seat. No one had used it since the funeral. "Explain this." Mom slapped the papers down. "Explain why my daughter has been stealing from me while my other daughter hid millions." I think Chloe should explain first. I met my sister's eyes. About the gambling debts. About using Ethan to spy on me. About all of it. "You self-righteous bitch," Chloe's mascara was already running. "You have no idea what it's been like, watching you play the perfect daughter while Mom fell apart." Perfect? I laughed. I was invisible. Until you needed something to steal. Enough. Mom's hand slammed the table. "The bank is investigating both of you. Our name will be ruined. Everything your father built." Dad knew. The words stopped her cold. He knew about the gambling, the debt, all of it. That's why he protected the money from you. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Ethan cleared his throat. "There might be a way to fix this. If Avery turns over the inheritance, we could settle with the bank quietly. Keep everything private." "You mean keep your involvement private," I corrected. "I loved you," he said softly. That part wasn't a lie. Just everything else? Mom sank into her chair. $2 million. All this time, while I've been drowning in debt. "Your debt," I reminded her. "Your choices." "Our choices," Chloe countered. "We're family. We're supposed to help each other. Like you helped yourself to Mom's accounts?" "At least I stayed." Chloe shot back. "I didn't abandon her like you're doing." Mom looked up, suddenly sharp. "Is that true? Are you leaving?" I thought of the community center job offer, the chance to start fresh. "Yes." "Then you're no daughter of mine." Mom's voice was quiet, final. "If you walk away now, don't come back." The words should have hurt more. Instead, they felt like freedom. I stood up. Dad left one more letter. "Would you like to know what it said?" Nobody moved. He wrote that love isn't about enabling destructive behavior. It's about having the courage to let people face their own choices. I pulled out my phone, showing them the bank app. "So here's my choice." With a few taps, I transferred enough money to cover Mom's legitimate debts, not the gambling ones, not the secret credit cards. Just the mortgage and basic bills. "That's all you get," I said. "The rest goes where Dad intended, to someone who'll use it to help others, not enable more lies." "You can't do this," Chloe whispered. "I already have." I headed for the door, then turned back one last time. "Dad saw all of this coming. He saw you using me, using him, using each other. And he made sure at least one of us would break free." "Avery, wait." Mom called, but I was already walking out into the rain. My phone buzzed. "The community center director, when can you start?" Through my tears, I smiled. "Tomorrow," I typed back. "I'm ready to begin." Behind me, the family home grew smaller in my rearview mirror, its windows dark with secrets I no longer had to keep. The community center's windows glowed warm against the twilight as I finished unpacking my new office. 1 week since I'd walked away from my family, and already the world felt different. Clearer. A knock at the door made me freeze. Ethan stood there, hands in his pockets, looking more disheveled than I'd ever seen him. "The security guard let me in," he said. "We need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about. Your mother's in the hospital." The words hit like a slap. "Anxiety attack." Chloe found her unconscious this morning. I gripped the edge of my desk. Why are you here, Ethan? Because I can fix this. He stepped closer. The bank's investigation, your family's reputation, all of it. I have connections. Like the connections you used to spy on me? That was different. I didn't know you then. His voice softened. I didn't know I'd fall in love with you. You mean you didn't know Dad would leave me the money? A flicker crossed his face. There it was, the truth behind the mask. It's not that simple, he started, but another voice cut him off. Actually, it is. Mom stood in the doorway, Chloe beside her. She looked smaller somehow, her designer outfit wrinkled, her makeup imperfect. You're supposed to be in the hospital, I said. I checked myself out. Mom stepped into the office. I needed to see what was so important that my daughter would abandon her family for it. I gestured around the room. This is what Dad believed in. Helping people break free from toxic situations. Like the one you created. I created? Mom laughed bitterly. Your father kept secrets. He played favorites. He saw everything. I cut in. The gambling, the lies, how you and Chloe manipulated everyone around you. He saw it all, and he made sure I'd see it too. Chloe moved to stand beside Ethan. We can still fix this. Together. As a family. Family? I pulled out my phone, playing a recording, Ethan's voice discussing their plan to access Dad's accounts. Chloe agreeing to use their relationship to manipulate me. Is this your idea of family? Mom's face went white. Chloe stepped forward, reaching for the phone, but I held up my hand. The bank already has copies. So does the district attorney. I met each of their eyes in turn. It's over. You'd send your own sister to jail? Mom whispered. No, but I won't protect her from her choices anymore. I turned to Ethan. Any of you. He moved suddenly, grabbing my arm. You don't understand what you're doing. The people I work with, the money involved. Let her go. The new voice made us all turn. Sarah, one of our center's clients, stood in the doorway with 2 police officers. I called them when I saw them come in. You okay, Avery? Ethan released me, stepping back as the officers entered. This is what Dad wanted, I said, watching their faces crumble. Not revenge. Not punishment. Just truth. The chance to build something honest from the ashes of all your lies. Miss Thompson. One officer stepped forward. We need to ask you some questions about the financial fraud complaint you filed. Mom sank into a chair, all pretense gone. Everything we did. I thought I was protecting our family. No, I said softly. You were protecting your image of what family should be. Dad protected me by showing me what family could be. As the officers led Ethan away, Chloe crying beside our shell-shocked mother, I looked around the center. At the women we'd help, the lives we'd change. At the legacy Dad had really left, not money, but the courage to break free. Miss Thompson. Sarah lingered in the doorway. The evening group is waiting. Should I tell them we're canceling? I straightened my desk, smoothed my shirt. No. Tell them we're just getting started. Behind me, Mom and Chloe watched in silence as I walked away, finally understanding what Dad had known all along. Sometimes love means letting go. 1 year later, I stood in front of the community center's newly expanded wing, watching as workers installed the dedication plaque. The Robert Thompson Memorial Center for New Beginnings. The morning sun caught the brass letters, making them glow like Dad's smile used to. Sarah appeared beside me, clipboard in hand. The first group of residents moves in next week. We've already got a waiting list for the transitional housing program. Dad would have loved this, I said, touching the plaque. Using his money to help people start over. Speaking of starting over. Sarah nodded toward the parking lot. Chloe stood there, looking different than I remembered. No designer clothes, no perfect makeup. Just my sister, wearing jeans and uncertainty. Hey, she said, stepping closer. Nice plaque. Thanks. How's the community service going? Almost done. The counseling too. She shifted, uncomfortable. Mom's doing better. The gambling addiction program. It's helping. I nodded, remembering the plea deal they'd both taken. Ethan hadn't been so lucky. His connections had turned out to be far more interested in saving themselves than him. I saw your interview, Chloe continued. About the center's mission. Helping women escape toxic relationships, find their strength. She paused. It reminded me of Dad's letters. You found them? Mom had them. All of them. He wrote to her too, trying to help her see what she was doing to us. To herself. Chloe's voice cracked. She never opened them until after the trial. Sarah touched my arm. I'll check on the contractors, she said, leaving us alone. I'm not ready to forgive everything, I said quietly. I know. I'm not asking for that. Chloe pulled something from her bag, a familiar envelope. But I found this in Mom's things. It's addressed to both of us from Dad. I haven't opened it. My hands shook slightly as I took it. Inside was a single photograph, Chloe and me as kids, laughing on a swing set, Dad pushing us both. Turn it over, Chloe whispered. Dad's handwriting covered the back. My girls, remember this moment. Before expectations, before competition, before fear drove you apart. Love isn't about keeping score. It's about pushing each other toward joy. He knew we'd end up here, I realized. Not just me breaking free, but you too. Eventually. I have an interview next week, Chloe said. With a domestic violence shelter. They need administrative help and with my community service experience. You're staying in social services? She smiled slightly. Turns out helping people feels better than manipulating them. Who knew? A group of women emerged from the center, heading to their life skills class. They walked tall, confident, free. Just like Dad always wanted for us. We're starting a new support group, I said. Family trauma and recovery. Tuesday nights. Chloe's eyes met mine. Yeah, if you're interested. I'll think about it. She turned to leave, then stopped. Avery, that day in your office, when everything fell apart. You could have destroyed us completely. But you didn't. That's not what Dad taught me about strength. She nodded, understanding finally crossing her face. I'll see you Tuesday. I watched her walk away, different now from the sister who'd helped tear our family apart. Not healed, not forgiven, but changing. Like all of us. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom, saw the center's write-up in the paper. Robert would be proud. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Some bridges take longer to rebuild than others. Inside my office, Dad's last letter sat framed on my desk. Sometimes the greatest act of love is letting people find their own way back to themselves. Sarah knocked, smiling. Ready? The new group's waiting. I touched the photograph in my pocket, feeling its edges, sharp but softening with time, like all the best truths do. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. Behind me, the plaque caught the sunlight again, casting warm shadows across the floor. Ahead, voices filled the center with new stories, new beginnings, new chances at joy. Just like Dad always knew they would.